Welcome back, everybody. We're here with Academy Award winner Ernest Borgnine. When you look at this, The Wild Bunch, you see the director's cut, and you see your picture there with William Holden and Ben Johnson and Ed O'Brien and Warren Oates and Robert Ryan. What are your thoughts when you think back on The Wild Bunch? I love this. One of my favorite movies of all time.
Did you know that we mentioned, what was his name? O'Brien. O'Brien, at that time, was practically blind. And when I asked Bill Holden during that scene, I said, "Where'd you find that guy?" He said, "Well, he's the grandfather of the kid that was with us and everything else. And I felt he was a pretty good guy, and so on and so on." Little did I know that he was actually almost blind, and he was making this picture. Hey, that's a thought. I mean, I'm an old man, and I'm not blind. I'd like to work. But so, that's what Eddie O'Brien used to do that. And I mean, he was marvelous. They were wonderful people. Robert Ryan, nobody knew that he had cancer at the time either. And he was working.
And you worked with him again on Bad Day at Black Rock with
right.
Spencer Tracy.
That's right.
And you talk in the book glowing. You're glowing about both those fellas.
Why not? These are people that came from the old school. You don't find. Where do you find a Robert Ryan today, or an O'Brien, or
a Lee Marvin, your buddy Lee Marvin,
or a Lee Marvin, or go back even further. Where do you find a Gary Cooper today, or a Spencer Tracy, or Frank Sinatra, who could sing like a bird and yet do wonderful roles on the picture? I mean, these were old timers. These were, I don't know. I get all hung up about it because, doggone it, you wish to goodness that they had somebody around these days that could really go at it. You know what I mean? But they're just a handful, and that's it.
You have made such an impact on so many generations. We were doing a feature story on Michelli's, the Italian restaurant, recently, and Frank was in there. We told him we were going to be interviewing Ernest Borgnine, and he said, when I saw Marty, when he was a young kid, he said, it changed my life. It made me look at women differently, like, hey, you can go out and be friends with these girls. And
Sure.
he said, from that moment on, he said, I would go to these dances, and he said, I'd dance with all the girls.
That's it. You'd be surprised at the letters I received from, oh, golly, hundreds of them, maybe 1,000. But all of these fellas saying, oh, boy, you just woke me up. It just made me feel like I can do this. I can do it. I'm not just somebody on the wall, you know what I mean? That's the way I felt in real life. I mean, I was found myself, that person that wouldn't leave the wall because I was afraid to approach a girl to say, would you mind like to dance, or would you have a drink with me or something? No, I couldn't do it.
Reading your book, you had no idea you were going to win that night.
Heavens,
you didn't have
no.
a speech prepared. But you were heavy competition. I mean, you were up against those were the big guys, and you won. It changed your life, didn't it?
It sure did. Well, it changed my life to a point. I still try to work the same way that I've always worked. That's honesty. And if you do it honestly, you come across that way. But there's an awful lot of people these days that, they're not honest. They're doing anything, even wearing dark glasses. Now, how can you wear dark glasses in a picture? And people are looking at you, and they want to see the eyes, because it's the eyes that give you the impact, the impulse of telling the truth. But if you hide behind cheaters, glasses, it just doesn't work. That's why I've always said you work with two things, your head and your heart, and no cheaters.
Bruce Campbell did McHale's Navy with you. This is his New York Times bestseller, If Chins Can Kill, Confessions of a B-Movie Actor. And boy, does he say some nice things about Ernest Borgnine.
Well, God bless him.
I want to share this. I'll tell you what, we'll take a break, and then we'll come back, and I'll share this with you,
All
okay?
right.
We'll be back And Bruce Campbell talks about the great Ernest Borgnine and his work ethic right after this. Don't go away.